The weather continues to be a challenge out here, but I am doing my best to try to figure out how I'm going to deal with it. Today, I need to irrigate this front pasture, and I've been putting that off because I wanted them to be out there so that they could have their calves in a nice place. But now they've almost all had their calves. There's 2 left here at the home ranch. This pasture is just getting too dry now, though. I cannot push this off any longer. But my problem is that I don't want to put the cows out in my other pastures yet because they haven't had enough time to recover. So that really only leaves me with one place to put them, and that is in this dry lot here. And before I can just lock them up in here and call it good, I want to bring the scraper in here and smooth this out because this ground is really rough and uneven. And for them to just walk in and out of here to get a drink of water, that's not a big deal. But for them to actually live in here, I think it would be nice to smooth this out a little bit for them and try to make a little bit nicer environment for the cows and especially for the calves as well, because they're not quite as steady on their feet yet as mama might be. I really do hate to take the cows off of grass, but to be perfectly honest, they've got this pasture eaten down so low that there's really not anything left for them to eat out there. They're surviving, I would say, exclusively on hay at this point, so there's really no difference for them to be out there or in here. The reason that they stay out there now, I think, is because the ground is smoother and more comfortable to lay on. We're gonna fix that in here pretty quick. So today, we need to get the corral ready for cows. We need to get the water going, and then I'm gonna do an update on our little bottle calf. I know several of you guys asked about him in the last video. There's not a lot of new developments there, but I think I am kind of starting to reach a decision as far as what needs to be done. So we'll talk about that kind of towards the end of the video. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. So I guess the aerator is going to have to come off of this tractor. Originally, I was hoping to go ahead and aerate this front pasture as well, but I think we've gotten to the point where now it's so dry out there that, number one, the aerator would have a really tough time penetrating that ground when it's this dry, and number two, the ground is so dry that it's starting to crack a little bit. So that's going to kind of accomplish what the aerator would have. It's going to create a bunch of voids that the water is going to have to fill. So I think we're going to hold off aerating this pasture, at least for now, so I can park the aerator up by the barn and then hook onto the box scraper, and we can start getting this corral cleaned up. I've been meaning to get this branch pulled out of the corral here for a while. If you guys remember, it fell on the fence at the beginning of winter, and I tried to get it out with the loader tractor and it just couldn't quite get it. Since then, it got too muddy out here to really try to mess with this, and I figured, you know, what's the harm? It gives the cows a nice place to scratch on, and I'll just leave it here until it gets dry. Well, that day has come. It's dry enough to get out here and drag this thing out. I don't have my chainsaw to cut this up and haul it down to the brush pile like I'd like to do, but I do have a chain that I can use a tractor to drag it out of here. We'll come cut it up later. Well, the easy part's done. Now I got to go through and pick up all these little branches, because if I get one of those caught up in the box scraper, it just ain't gonna work. I'm never going to get every last stick up out of here, and there's probably, you know, a couple million of them here left.
But I think everything that's left now is small enough where if the box scraper catches it, it's not going to hurt anything. As I was picking these sticks up though, I wanted to kind of mention that I can see where every time I clean my barn out, I drop all the hay right here. And, you know, for a couple months, you can see the hay pile. Well, obviously now you can't. And the reason for that is that it has decomposed. It has been mixed in with manure and everything, and what I would consider to be composted now. This would be awesome material to put in my manure spreader, but the problem is all these little sticks. I'm not sure that that I want to put those in the spreader because I don't want the sticks to mess anything up. But I think that I am going to try to drag sort of this area where I can see that we've got some good compost going, and kind of try to pile it up in the corner over there so that when I do get some time, I'll have a pile that I can pull from and fill the manure spreader. That would be perfect for putting in these front pastures here. As usual, it's not a matter of not having the ambition or the desire to do something. It's a matter of time. Today, I just don't have it. This poor old box scraper has certainly seen better days, and I've really been needing to get it back up into the shop so I can repair some of these cracks. But I'm hoping she's got one more go in her, so we're gonna try it. If it breaks, then definitely have the tools to fix it, but I just don't have them here. Let's get a good look at this corral, because it's not gonna look like this much longer. This is looking so much better out here now. I can actually walk through the corral without tripping over every step. And that's nice, I like that. I've got a little pile here of manure, and I wish I had a few more hours today. I would just run and get the manure spreader and start putting this out on the front field, but I just don't have the time to do that today. So this is gonna have to wait for me for another day. Now, I think I need to jump in the side-by-side. We'll run out and try to gather these cows and bring them up in this corral. I'm not sure how this is gonna go because we got so many new calves out there, and they are notoriously bad herders. I'm hoping that I only have to leave the cows in here for maybe 2 weeks at the very most. By then, I am hopeful that I'll have enough grass in my back pasture that I can turn them back there and get them going on a grazing rotation. Everybody's a little bit agitated right now, but we got everybody in here. And I think mothers are a little bit mad because they may not know exactly where their calf is at. And calves are a little mad because they may not know exactly where their mom's at. But pretty soon everybody will pair up and they'll realize that we're all here together and everything's fine. I did notice, however, on the trip in here, number 44, one of the cows that is left to calve here that I didn't think was very close because she was so late last year. Looking at her now, I'd say any day. So it's not gonna hurt her to have her calf in here. In fact, the first calf of the year was born in here and the conditions were a lot worse than what they are now. And I won't be surprised if I see that early this week. Well, let's set some valves and start the pump. Well, I think we're about all set over here. I got the cows where I want them. I got the water going. They're a little unhappy with me right now, but you know, in the big picture, they're gonna thank me, right? So I believe it's about dinner time for the little calf. Let's run back home, mix him up a bottle and see how he's doing.
Hi, little calf.
Think he's hungry?
Yes.
Okay. You wanna get in there?
Yes.
Grab on. Ugh. He's gonna stand up for us, I think. He wants the bottle. You stick it right here. He kind of looks at it. Stick it over here. So we're moving what he wants, but he doesn't move his head. I don't know what's the matter. Doesn't seem to bother him, does it?
Good boy. Good boy, fella. Good boy.
Yeah, he's good, huh?
He's a good boy.
So as you can see, this little calf is a little bit more mobile and active than I think he was in the last video. But I still can tell that his vision is very bad, and if we check out his eye here in the daylight, his left eye is really light and cloudy looking, so I'm pretty sure that he can't see out of it. His other eye doesn't look as bad, but when I do my sort of vision tests, I don't really see that he responds very well on that side either. The best way that I can really test his eyes is just when I bring the bottle in here and I know that he's hungry. I can hold it right in front of his face and he won't take the nipple until I actually touch it to his nose, or if he will kind of sniff around, sometimes he can find it. So he definitely has a good sense of smell and he has good hearing. I know at first I thought that maybe he couldn't hear that good, but as soon as I open the trailer door, he starts sort of searching for that bottle. So I know he can hear and I know he can smell. To what degree he can see, I'm not sure. His close-up vision is definitely not good. So that kind of begs a question as to what are we gonna do with him. The good things that he has going for him is that he eats very well and his digestive system seems to work just fine, as in stuff goes in and stuff comes out. He seems to be growing. As far as all that goes, he's good. It's just his vision is what's really holding him back. What I'm considering doing with him is maybe just taking him over to the ranch and putting him out with the cows. Now they're in the corral, so they won't really be able to ditch him. And just kind of see how he does. I don't know if maybe his sense of smell and his hearing will be enough for him to sort of like meld into that herd a little bit and be able to sort of follow them around. I think that he knows the sound of my voice well enough now that if he was just out running around with those other calves, that if I called him or something, he would probably come up to get a drink. So I'm not really sure. I think I may try that. If he just, you know, if that's not working, then, you know, we've kind of reached the point where we need to decide, like, long term, what are we gonna do? And
And if he doesn't get better, and if he's not gonna have a good quality of life, then sadly, probably what this is gonna come down to is I'm gonna have to put him down. But there's a few more things still that I'd like to try with him. And, you know, we'll just give him every chance that we can.
Auf Wiedersehen, Farmertylerranch.